The underestimated species commander Thane Vortex stood on the bridge of the Vaxery dreadnought, Stellar Dominion, watching the final moments of the Meridian System's destruction. The 3 planets that had once housed the peaceful Corvani people were now burning ruins. Their beautiful crystal cities lay shattered, their gardens turned to ash. Another conquest completed for the mighty Vaxery Empire. The Vaxery had ruled the galaxy for over 2,000 years. They were masters of war, standing nearly 3 meters tall with powerful limbs and thick armor-like skin. Their ships were massive, dark vessels that struck fear into every species they encountered. No one had ever successfully resisted them. Until recently, every species had either surrendered immediately or been completely destroyed. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Zara from the communications station, "we're receiving a transmission from an unknown vessel. It's ... small, sir, very small." Thane turned his massive head, his 4 eyes focusing on the main screen. A tiny ship appeared. There, barely the size of a Vaxery shuttle. It was white and blue, with strange markings he had never seen before. The design was smooth and curved, unlike the angular war machines the Vaxery were used to seeing. "They're requesting permission to approach," Zara continued. "They say they come in peace and wish to establish diplomatic contact." Thane's mandibles clicked in what passed for laughter among his species. Diplomatic contact, after we just conquered this system. These creatures must be even more foolish than the Corvani. He gestured with one of his 4 arms. "Let them approach. This should be entertaining." The small vessel moved closer, and soon a face appeared on the communication screen. Thane had seen many alien species, but this one was new to him. The creature was small and soft-looking, with smooth skin and only 2 eyes. It had long dark hair and wore some kind of blue uniform. "Greetings," the creature said in surprisingly clear galactic standard. "I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Harmony. I represent the human species, and we come seeking peaceful contact with your empire." Thane studied the human with interest. Earth. He had never heard of this world. The creature seemed so fragile, so weak. Its ship was clearly not built for war. "Human," he said, his voice deep and threatening, "you have entered a war zone. The Vaxery Empire has just claimed this system. State your business quickly." Captain Chen's expression remained calm. "We've been observing the situation from a distance. We're explorers and researchers, not warriors. We're hoping to establish trade relations and perhaps learn from your advanced civilization." "Learn from us?" Thane was amused. "Tell me, human, what could such a small species possibly offer the mighty Vaxery Empire?" "We have knowledge of scientific techniques that might interest you," Chen replied. "Our people have developed unique approaches to energy manipulation, stellar navigation, and resource extraction. We're always eager to share discoveries with peaceful neighbors." Thane's military advisor, Colonel Vex, leaned closer to whisper in his ear. "Sir, our long-range sensors show several more of these human ships scattered throughout this sector. They appear to be salvage vessels, picking through the remains of destroyed worlds." "Scavengers," Thane muttered. It made sense. Many weak species survived by following in the wake of stronger civilizations, feeding on the scraps left behind. "Very well, human. You may establish a small presence in this sector. Stay out of our way, and we may allow you to continue your research." "Thank you, Commander," Chen said with what appeared to be genuine gratitude. "We appreciate your generosity." The communication ended, and Thane dismissed the human ship from his thoughts. He had more important matters to attend to. The Vaxari Empire was planning its next conquest, and there were rumors of a species called the Xanthari who might actually put up a fight. Over the following weeks, the Vaxari continued their expansion through the Outer Rim territories. They encountered the humans several more times, always in small groups, always appearing to be engaged in peaceful research or salvage operations. The humans were polite and deferential, never interfering with Vaxari military operations. But something strange began happening. Vaxari scout ships started disappearing. At first, Admiral Crix, the fleet commander, assumed it was mechanical failure. Space travel was dangerous, and even Vaxari technology sometimes failed. But when the disappearances continued, he began to grow concerned. 17 ships in the past month, reported his intelligence officer during a briefing aboard the massive flagship Eternal Conquest. All of them were on routine patrol missions in sectors where we've encountered the humans. Admiral Crix was an experienced military leader, scarred from countless battles. He had conquered 47 worlds personally and had never met a species that could threaten Vaxari superiority. Are you suggesting these humans are responsible? Those tiny ships couldn't possibly threaten our scouts. I'm not certain, sir, the intelligence officer replied carefully. But the pattern is concerning. Perhaps we should investigate more thoroughly. Before Crix could respond, another officer burst into the briefing room. Sir, we've lost contact with the advance fleet in the Kepler sector. All 12 ships have gone silent. Crix's expression darkened. 12 ships was not a mechanical failure. That was an attack. Dispatched a third battle group to investigate immediately and send a message to all human vessels in that sector. I want to speak with their leadership. Captain Sarah Chen responded to the Admiral's summons within hours. Her small ship, the Harmony, approached the Vaxara flagship with the same calm confidence she had shown before. When her image appeared on the communication screen, she looked exactly as peaceful as ever. Admiral Crix, she said with a respectful nod, how can we assist you? Your people have been present in several sectors where my ships have disappeared. Crix said bluntly, I want to know what you know about these incidents. Chun's expression showed what appeared to be genuine concern. Disappearances. That's very troubling. We've been conducting archaeological surveys in those areas, but we haven't seen any signs of conflict. Space can be dangerous though, perhaps. Your ships encountered natural phenomena we haven't discovered yet. Natural phenomena don't make 12 dreadnoughts vanish simultaneously, Crix growled. 12 ships. Chen looked surprised. Admiral, with respect, we've only seen small patrol vessels in our surveys. Are you certain you had 12 large ships in that sector? Something about her tone made Crix pause. There was something almost knowing in her voice, but her expression remained innocent and helpful. Our sensors show no signs of weapons, fire, or battle damage in any of the areas where ships have disappeared, Chen continued. If you'd like, we could share our sensor data with you. We have some unique scanning technologies that might help solve this mystery. Crix agreed to examine the human sensor data, though he doubted creatures with such primitive ships could have technology superior to the Vaxari. But when the data arrived, his science officers were amazed. The human sensors had detected energy signatures and spatial distortions that Vaxari equipment had completely missed. How is this possible? Crix demanded of his chief scientist. Their ships are barely functional by our standards. Sir, the scientist replied nervously, I think we may have underestimated these humans. This sensor data suggests they have quantum-level detection capabilities. We've never seen anything like it. Meanwhile, in a hidden facility buried deep within an asteroid in the outer system. Dr. Alina Vasquez monitored the conversation between the Vaxxer and Captain Chen. The facility was one of dozens scattered throughout the galaxy, each one invisible. 2 conventional sensors and connected by quantum communication networks. The Vaxxeri are starting to ask the right questions, Dr. Vasquez said to her team. How much longer can we maintain the illusion? As long as necessary, replied her assistant, Commander Torres. The fleet is almost in position. All stealth systems are functioning perfectly. They still have no idea what they're really dealing with. Dr. Vasquez nodded, looking at the holographic display showing the positions of hundreds of human ships throughout the galaxy. Each one was invisible to Vaxxeri sensors, hidden by technology that bent light and energy around them. The Vaxxeri saw only what the humans wanted them to see. The question is, she said quietly, what happens when they finally realize the truth? Back on the Vaxxeri flagship, Admiral Crix was growing increasingly frustrated. More ships had disappeared, and his attempts to track the cause had failed completely. The humans continued to offer help and cooperation, but something felt wrong about the entire situation. Sir, reported his tactical officer, we've detected unusual energy readings in the Proxima sector. The signatures don't match any known technology. Investigate immediately, Crix ordered. Take a full battle group and find out what's causing these readings, sir. The humans have offered to escort our ships through that sector, the officer added. They say they know safe routes through the area. Crix paused. The humans had been helpful, but their timing was always suspiciously convenient. Very well, but I want our ships to maintain full battle readiness. Something about this situation doesn't feel right. How is this possible? Crix demanded of his chief scientist. Their ships are barely functional by our standards. Sir, the scientist replied nervously, I think we may have underestimated these humans. This sensor data suggests they have quantum detection capabilities. We've never seen anything like it. Meanwhile, in a hidden facility buried deep within an asteroid in the outer system, Dr. Alina Vasquez monitored the conversation between the Vaxxeri and Captain Chen. The facility was one of dozens scattered throughout the galaxy, each one invisible. 2 conventional sensors and connected by quantum communication networks. The Vaxxeri are starting to ask the right questions, Dr. Vasquez said to her team. How much longer can we maintain the illusion? As long as necessary, replied her assistant, Commander Torres. The fleet is almost in position. All stealth systems are functioning perfectly. They still have no idea what they're really dealing with. Dr. Vasquez nodded, looking at the holographic display showing the positions of hundreds of human ships throughout the galaxy. Each one was invisible to Vaxxeri sensors, hidden by technology that bent light and energy around them. The Vaxxeri saw only what the humans wanted them to see. The question is, she said quietly, what happens when they finally realize the truth? Back on the Vaxxeri flagship, Admiral Crix was growing increasingly frustrated. More ships had disappeared, and his attempts to track the cause had failed completely. The humans continued to offer help and cooperation, but something felt wrong about the entire situation. Sir, reported his tactical officer, we've detected unusual energy readings in the Proxima sector. The signatures don't match any known technology. Investigate immediately, Crix ordered. Take a full battle group and find out what's causing these readings. Sir, the humans have offered to escort our ships through that sector, the officer added. They say they know safe routes through the area. Crix paused. The humans had been helpful, but their timing was always suspiciously convenient. Very well, But I want our ships to maintain full battle readiness. Something about this situation doesn't feel right." As the Vaxery battle group prepared to depart, Admiral Crix couldn't shake the feeling that he was missing something important. The humans seemed so peaceful, so cooperative, but in his long military career, he had learned that appearances could be deceiving. The most dangerous enemies were often the ones who didn't look dangerous at all. In the depths of space, hidden from all detection, the human fleet waited. Hundreds of ships, each one equipped with technology that the Vaxery couldn't even imagine, held their positions with perfect discipline. They had been preparing for this moment for months, studying their enemy, learning their weaknesses, and waiting for the right time to reveal themselves. Captain Sarah Chen had done her job perfectly. The Vaxeru believed they were dealing with a weak, primitive species. They had no idea that humanity had been watching them, learning from them, and preparing for the day when peaceful coexistence would no longer be possible. The time for hiding was almost over. The fleet emerges. The attack came at dawn in the Proxima sector, just as Admiral Crix had feared, but it didn't come from the direction he expected. The Vaxery 3rd Battle Group was moving through the sector in standard formation. 12 massive dreadnoughts surrounded by dozens of smaller escort ships. Captain Chen's Harmony flew alongside them, its human crew supposedly guiding them through the safest routes. Everything seemed normal until the first Vaxery ship simply ... vanished. "Sir," shouted the tactical officer aboard Crix's flagship. The Dominator just disappeared. One moment it was there, the next. "Impossible," Crix growled. "Ships don't just disappear. Check your sensors." But before the officer could respond, 2 more ships vanished from the formation, then 3 more. The remaining Vaxery vessels began firing wildly into empty space, their weapons lighting up the darkness but hitting nothing. "Admiral," came Captain Chen's voice over the communication system, "you need to cease fire immediately. You're about to make a terrible mistake." "What are you talking about?" Crix demanded. "My ships are under attack." "No," Chen replied calmly. "Your ships are being disabled and captured, and if you continue firing, my people will be forced to defend themselves." Before Crix could respond, something impossible happened. The space around his fleet began to shimmer, like heat waves rising from a desert. And then, one by one, ships began to appear. They materialized out of nothing, as if they had been invisible all along. Sleek, powerful vessels that dwarfed even the largest Vaxery dreadnoughts. Their hulls were a deep metallic blue, and they moved with a grace that seemed to defy physics. "My God," whispered the Vaxery tactical officer. "Where did they come from?" More ships appeared, then more. Within minutes, the Vaxery fleet was completely surrounded by hundreds of human vessels. They had been there all along, hidden by technology that made them completely invisible to Vaxery sensors. "This is Captain Marcus Reed of the Earth Defense." "Force Vessel Indomitable," came a new voice over the communications. "Admiral Crix, you and your fleet are now prisoners of the Human Federation. Order your ships to power down their weapons and prepare to be boarded." Crix stared at the main screen in shock. The ship that had just spoken was massive, easily twice the size of his own flagship. Its weapons were clearly visible, and they were pointed directly at his bridge. "Impossible," he breathed. "The humans are primitive. They have no military capability." "Admiral," Captain Chen's voice was gentle but firm. "We've been watching your empire for over 2 years. We know everything about your technology, your tactics, and your weaknesses. We know how you treat conquered species, and we know about the worlds you've destroyed. We can't allow that to continue. You're bluffing, Crix said, though his voice lacked conviction. Even if you have more ships than we realized, you're still just one species. The Vaxery Empire spans thousands of worlds. Actually, came Captain Reed's voice, we're not just one species anymore. The space around the battle group shimmered again, and new ships appeared. But these weren't human vessels. Crix recognized the designs immediately. Corvani ships, Zenthari vessels, even some from species the Vaxery had conquered decades ago. Meet the Galactic Liberation Alliance, Reed continued. Every species your empire has oppressed, every world you've conquered. We've been working together for years, sharing technology, building a fleet capable of standing against your forces. Dr. Alina Vasquez spoke from her hidden command center, her voice reaching every ship in the human fleet. All vessels, prepare for Phase 2. The Vaxery home fleet is approaching from the Beta sector. Time to show them what real technology looks like. Across the galaxy, the true scale of the human operation became clear. Hidden bases throughout the outer systems activated, revealing themselves for the first time. Space stations that had appeared to be asteroid mining facilities transformed into military command centers. The primitive human settlements revealed themselves as advanced military installations. How? Admiral Crix asked, his voice barely a whisper. How did we not see this? Because you saw what you expected to see, Captain Chen replied. You saw a weak, primitive species that posed no threat. You never bothered to look deeper. We've been preparing for this moment since the day we first learned of your empire's existence. The human ships began to move, their formation changing with fluid precision. Crix watched in amazement as the vessels seemed to dance through space, their movements coordinated by some invisible force. No fleet he had ever seen moved with such perfect synchronization. Our ships are controlled by advanced artificial intelligence, Reed explained, as if reading his thoughts. Each vessel is connected to a quantum communication network that allows for instantaneous coordination across any distance. We don't just fight as individual ships, we fight as a single unified force. As if to demonstrate, the human fleet suddenly shifted, creating a perfect sphere around the Vaxid ships. Energy shields flickered to life between the vessels, creating an impenetrable barrier. The Vaxery were completely trapped. Admiral, came a panicked voice from one of Crix's subordinates. The home fleet is reporting massive casualties. They're saying the humans have weapons that adapt to our defenses. Our shields are useless against them. Captain Reed's voice was calm and professional. Our weapons analyze the energy signature of your shields and modify their frequency to penetrate them. It's technology we developed specifically for this conflict. We studied your empire for years, learning everything we could about your capabilities. But why? Crix demanded. We offered you peaceful coexistence. You could have lived safely in the outer systems. At what cost? Captain Chen asked. While we lived safely, how many other species would you have conquered? How many worlds would you have destroyed? We couldn't stand by and watch that happen. Dr. Vasquez's voice came through the communication system again. Admiral Crix, you're receiving a data transmission now. It contains evidence of every atrocity your empire has committed. Over the past 50 years, every conquered world, every enslaved species, every act of genocide. This is why we couldn't allow your empire to continue. The data streamed across the Vaxery flagship's main screen. World after world, species after species, all destroyed or enslaved by the Vaxery Empire. Crix had seen most of these conquests personally, but seeing them all together from the perspective of the victims was overwhelming. "We're not here to destroy you," Reed continued. "We're here to offer you a choice. Join the Galactic Liberation Alliance as equals. Help us rebuild the worlds you've destroyed and face justice for your crimes, or continue to fight and face the consequences." "You're asking us to surrender everything we've built," Crix said. "We're asking you to become something better," Chen replied. "Your species has incredible potential. Your technology, your organizational skills, your military expertise, all of it could be used to protect and defend instead of conquer and destroy." Across the galaxy, the battle between the Human Lead Alliance and the Vaxxari Empire was reaching its conclusion. The advanced human technology was overwhelming the Vaxxari forces, but the humans were careful to disable rather than destroy. They captured ships intact, took prisoners rather than killing, and consistently offered surrender terms. "Sir," reported Crix's tactical officer, "the home fleet has surrendered. The Emperor is requesting terms." Admiral Crix looked around his bridge at his officers. They were all watching him, waiting for his decision. He thought about the worlds his empire had conquered, the species they had enslaved, the cultures they had destroyed. For the first time in his life, he felt something he had never experienced before: shame. "Captain Reed," he said finally, "I want to speak with your leadership, not as an admiral of the Vaxxari Empire, but as someone who wants to understand how we can make amends for what we've done." "I think that can be arranged," Reed replied. "Welcome to the Alliance, Admiral. We have a lot of work to do." As the human fleet began the process of integrating the surrendered Vaxxari ships, Captain Chen reflected on what they had accomplished. It had taken years of preparation, incredible sacrifice, and perfect coordination. But humanity had proven that intelligence, determination, and cooperation could overcome even the most powerful military force. The galaxy would never be the same. The age of conquest was over. The age of cooperation had begun, and it all started with a small ship called the Harmony and a species that everyone had underestimated: the End*.